right now, I would advise you to go for an IRR play, which is actually fairly secure, even though you will get in the high, in the teens of IRR. And I would take half your money and invest it in Denmark Resi. Exactly do this kind of privatization strategy. And I would probably advise you to buy newly built properties, wait a few years and then start splitting them up. Because then you got the rental levels in the beginning that increases, you can wait for the market goes up, because the prices in Copenhagen, square meter prices when you sell resi is skyrocketing at the moment. It's increasing every year with at least 5 to 6% per square meter. And then I would take the other half, and I'm sorry, I'm going to skip Sweden this time.
It's okay.
Because even though I really, really like commercial, I would also tell you Helsinki, Greater Helsinki area, Resi, same kind of play. That's where I would go.
Okay, good. Julia,
with a good risk reward allocation.
Okay. Julia, I'm giving you 500 million for Fund 3. What are you going to do with it?
Okay. I would take, given the fairly long investment horizon then, I would take maybe half of it into brownfield investments in selected suburbs of Stockholm, where you can see that these areas today, where you have offices in not the best condition, and you have some industrial and light industrial and warehouse premises. You have that today at a low rental level with no volatility, good risk-adjusted return still. So as is, it's still a good product or good risk-adjusted return. But if you look 10 years ahead, this area will be something completely different, thanks to Stockholm growing and new infrastructure projects that will happen within 7 years or so. So that's what I would do with half of the money. And with the other half, I would split that into 25% grocery retail in Finland. Because I also think that's, you get a premium on the return which I don't really think is motivated, because people need to eat in Finland as well. And if you have such a long horizon, I would worry less about the liquidity premium, what I said before, about Finland being a smaller market. So that I would do with 25%, and the rest 25% I would probably go asset by asset and buy also grocery retail in Sweden. But I would stay away from Stockholm, Gothenburg and Malmö, due to that I'm a little bit concerned about e-commerce.
Okay.
Even in the grocery sector.
Okay, interesting. Ville?
I'd probably give you a call in 2 years' time, maybe 3 years' time, and tell you what it is, where you ended up in. But our investment process is very bottom-up, so we look at each individual opportunity case by case. But what a good likelihood would be that you would not be owning any prime office, I don't think, at the end of that investment period. And we're seeing the pricing at broadly such level, and the market so tight that that's probably not something we would go into. You'll probably see more than anything else, you probably see retail and logistics in the portfolio. But what we'd also do is, particularly in the case of Finland, we've been talking about it quite a bit in terms of that yield play. But actually, even what we had here on the graph, that was only just submarkets in Helsinki. So there's something else beyond that. So I'd probably look to building a portfolio with that high income yield. And so that's why Finland will come into the play as well, because that's the place you most likely get it. But heavier allocation to retail logistics than the other sectors, most likely.
Okay, great. Andrew, would I be able to buy the whole of your Baltics portfolio?
No, I think, I like the Nordics, full stop. When sitting here in London and comparing it to the other product that we have in and around Europe, look, I'm personally invested into residential and in Sweden, and I think the residential sector in all of the Nordics is underdeveloped, and there'll be more. And if you look at all of the Rikke was talking about the size and the importance of the main cities in the Nordics. There's just more and more demand, both from flow of people moving in from the countryside, but also new immigration, and there's a tremendous demand for residential. So I think I've been fortunate enough to see what happened here in the crisis in the UK, and a lot of people's house prices went down and then it's come back up. We didn't see that so much in the Nordics. I mean, house prices just continued to go up. So I've been very lucky there, and therefore it's pretty hard for me to not say that residential is something that you should be focusing on. Equally, I've been around all over the Nordics and looked at logistics properties on behalf of clients, and I think that sector, like you have here in the UK, he's not at all interested in what I've got to what I'm going to spend my money.
He's going to buy your house.
Exactly. I think logistics is changing. It's not as fast as it's been here with the likes of everybody here in the UK, internet purchasing, etc. But that's catching up. And whenever I go to a logistics centre, I always talk to the foreman and ask whether or not, how's the package. Are you looking to expand? Almost all of them from PostNord. And don't forget, PostNord is equally owned by the Danish government and the Swedish government. So buying a logistics facility with a government-backed tenant which is expanding, or the Norwegian government, which is Bing, I think that's a really interesting space. Like retail as well, given that not so much, I think it's great in Sweden because you have such big, in terms of the smaller cities around Sweden, the interesting thing is that Sweden has so many companies that are giant international global companies. So whether it's Electrolux, the largest white goods maker in the world, whether it's Husqvarna, the largest chainsaw maker and motorbike maker in the world, Scania, the largest truck maker, SCA, the largest paper product maker in the world, SKF, the largest ball bearing maker in the world. It's quite astounding. And then when you look at the UK, what are the biggest companies? You've got Rolls-Royce making airline engines, and that's it. So, so you've got Sweden, this population of 9 million, with these ginormous global companies, all producing and distributing from Sweden through the ports, etc. And then you have those companies not all located in Stockholm, but in places. Husqvarna, the company, is named after the town Husqvarna, which is in the middle of Sweden. So you have a huge residential that goes around that. Then you could say is the risk that one of those companies is going to fold. I mean, they've been around. I mean, Scania, the truck maker, has been around. It's made a profit every year for the last 90 years. It's fascinating how the Swedish business model works. And so I think my view would be that backed around that, those small towns all need retail. It's a cold climate. People want to go inside a shopping centre. Shopping centres are good. So I'm long on resi, long on industrial, and long on retail.